Now, every single industry has a governing body that tells it how to operate. And today we are joined by Mr. Davison Munsanda, who is the Zambia Association of Musicians president. He has his own journey in music, administrative and also creating, over 20 years of expertise there. But today we want to get into the nitty-gritties of some of the complaints that have arisen, especially since 2024, of the Zambian music and the artists that are in our industry. Mr. Davison, thank you so much for joining us.
Good afternoon, and of course, good afternoon to the viewers, and much more gratitude to the artists out there.
I'm excited to talk to you because, like I said in our little chat before, here at Diamond TV, we talk a lot about your artists. We talk a lot about the art that your artists create. And we also interact with your artists through conversations, through interviews and the like. And on air and off air, there's a lot of lapses that are, brought up by the artists themselves, a lot of gaps that people want to bring together. And I think it's easy to just go around and have these conversations on the side, but having you here helps us to get a bigger picture. Now, for somebody who's at home, who maybe is hearing of Zambia Association of Musicians for the very first time, I know you're the governing body. It's easy to say it like that, but how do you define, the role that the association plays?
Well, Zambia Association of Musicians is the only recognized body that is in charge, or rather whose mandate is to ensure that the welfare of artists across the country is well taken care of. And Zambia Association of Musicians has been there from as far as 1972, 78, all the way through. Of course, interchanges from a union into an association, which right now we're talking of ZAM being an affiliated body to the National Arts Council under the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Arts.
That's amazing. Now, dealing with artists, of course, is one thing, but also being able to run the body that deals with artists is another. You were elected in 2021,
yes,
and your term is somewhat coming to an end very soon.
Yes.
What would you say has been a proud achievement that you've brought to the industry through your time running as president?
Well, I think it's been a very good call for us because rather, let me take this opportunity to also thank my executive back there, who are very hardworking, and of course the artists who entrusted us with the mandates to be able to run the affairs of the country. Through and through, the association, it being a statutory body under the ministry, it's been very difficult for us to be able to challenge or see to it that agencies or stakeholders are put in line with our value, our market value. The challenge has been that in as much as we are providing or creating content, we need to put value on this content, because then it takes a lot of money to create this content. And the consumers, of course, and other stakeholders who are utilizing or using this content may not have given in enough to pay the artists for what they're making. But then at the end of the day, during our time, my tenure, and of course my predecessors passing it through to me in a very good way, we've been able to achieve a lot. And if I was to tabulate some of the things we've been able to achieve, it to take us the whole day, but I'm sure those questions are coming down. But we have done very well, and we're grateful to the government of the day that has given us a bit of room, or the political will, to be able to transform many areas that were of concern. Can just quickly maybe mention a few. We've been able to sit down with the government and negotiate for the importation of equipment that allows us to double up our production. We're talking of state-of-the-art equipment, which we are getting with the SI-67, which allows us to import goods, of course, duty-free, and this is on specific items. And also we have been able to deal with NAPSA. Artists out there were treated as informal sector. We are professional now, in case you didn't know, because we have the art and film policy in place, especially the art policy, which we pushed for as an executive, together, of course, with other national association leaders. And this has given us room to now sit down and fight for more policies. But much more, we need deliberate policies. These are policies that allow the artists to be able to, access finances or revenue streams that allow them to maximize their potential, and in turn contribute to GDP, contribute to the national identity at a higher scale, especially that we have a global market now. The competition that we have in terms of music being a competitive sport is not based only on the grounds that we have set here, but it's also the international circles who are very much every day waiting for us to be able to, score across the globe. Music is global now, so there's much we've done in that aspect, and also maybe basically we have scored in an area of concern that was highly an issue with our artists. We're talking of insurance policy. Our artists, mostly when we have lost one, we have to go around and start asking for donations amongst ourselves, contributions and so forth, just to run a funeral. Or even when someone is unwell, we have to go down the route of seeking people that are well wishers to see to it that the artists were taken care of well. We've gone into an MOU with Norwich and Best Life Insurance, and we have something that is very lucrative, very sustainable for the artist. We're talking of an insurance policy that allows them to at least access, medical care, as well as funeral policy, funeral cover, when these artists,
That's a very powerful speech on paper, but how practical are these things? And I think I'll cite Dandy's passing as the most recent example. Did Dandy have a pension? Did Dandy have health insurance at the time of his passing?
Well, very tricky, but the right time to ask that question. Well, may Dandy Crazy, and of course, not only Dandy Crazy, we lost 4 people in that RTA, and may their souls rest in peace. I must mention to the artists out there that it's unfortunate that many artists are a bit, reluctant in facing the real issues around the professionalism. Dandy Crazy was a member of Zambia Association of Musicians. He may not have renewed his membership from time to time, but this is a code that many artists out there become comfortable with. But the truth is this, Dandy was a member, but then at the time of his passing, he may not have put his books properly with the association in terms of renewing his membership and ensuring that the policy as well, the cover, is activated. That I can confirm. Together with Chris Jules as well, who was his backup vocalist, and also we're talking of also Warren, his dancer, as well as the driver, who's more of a friend of the arts. We treat all these people as a team, because you see, an artist when he's moving, it's never about just the actual individual. It's a team. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of business that comes with the brand as an artist. So unfortunately, that wasn't the case. But still, for us right now, since we're in foundation stages, we don't have a problem someone not being a member or being a member. But those we can account for. It's easier for us to deal with them. Dandy was an icon, and it was only prudent enough for us to, see to it that he gets a, befitting burial. And artists themselves showed respect and love for someone who was their mentor, someone who fought for what they are today, especially the sounds that we're getting from the Copper Belt. Dandy was more of an originator of that content. And so for me to even get interviews as a president from as far as France, from as far as Tanzania, across the globe, just on Dandy's passing, it touched me as well. And so I would love to thank everyone. What we did with Dandy is a good site setting for what we should be doing, even away from death, even just celebrating our lives. Dandy's funeral artists contributed, and we are grateful as an association to our members. They contributed very well. We had enough resources to take care of both Dandy and Dandy and as well as his people. And you see that also the stakeholders, they came through and showed love and respect, including the government and other agencies.
I want to ask there, if it wasn't Dandy, would that have been the case?
And this is the reason why, as an association, as a hardworking association executive, we had to sit in and secure the MOU we have, the insurance policy, because we know that it won't be the same with every artist. It can never be the same with every artist. People get to fall to the side of the person they easily relate with. If I have a big brand right now and I'm gone, people maybe remember me because I even had access to a position like the one I'm sitting on. But what of another person who plays a back role, which is very, very also influential, effective, but is not known? There, the chances of them being able to generate revenue, the way they generate it, it's not the same. They're slim. Okay. So with Dandy, it was because people already knew he's an icon. But the truth is this: that is not the way things should be. This is why, to level that, as an association, we said let's have an insurance policy so that in case there's nothing contributed by the members or the public, there's still a secure space for us to have to have dignity around someone is passing. But you see, it's never going to be fair for everyone. It's just normal that the community, society has certain people at a certain level. Our role as an association is to level the playing field. Our role is to ensure that these artists at least try to level up, ensure that there's no one left behind, upcoming, established. They should know be no line in there.
I like that you've brought that up, standardizing and putting things at a level. Let's talk about entry into the Zambian music industry. Now, a lot of people, a lot of up-and-coming artists do complain that the ones that are established now are very comfortable. They don't want to make way. They don't want to, you know, appreciate or let them in. There's gatekeepers in the industry. I know that's a very, like, baseline employee conversation because you're running the head of this entire industry. But what are your thoughts on that?
Well, there's always going to be people that go ahead of you. If I want to be a leader, be it in politics, be it in whatever, there will be people that started it. The point of feeling like you are left out comes in also with oneself. It's up to the association and many people around that should be able to, first of all, nurture this talent. Prepare them for the competition ahead. To feel left out, to feel like other people are blocking you from where you want to be is a bit of an unfair call because...
So you don't believe there's gatekeepers?
There are people that may sound like they run things, which is okay that they're there because obviously they know a bit of more than what others who are coming know. But the issue is, how is the transition? How do we accommodate each other? I don't want those who are starting today, upcoming artists, to feel like it's not their industry. It is your industry. And as a matter of fact, upcoming artists are the most powerful artists because what they bring has never been heard before. If it's been heard before, they obviously work on it and bring it to speed with what's selling globally. If you are a gatekeeper or you feel like you're a gatekeeper, you should know that you are replaceable. No one is replaceable in the industry. There's a room for everyone. As a matter of fact, the market is big now. We can all explore around the market. But the truth is, but there's truth in what you're saying, that there are a couple of people who feel like they are running things, so you have to go through them to get somewhere. But then when they start having that ego, what are they fighting for? Are they developing the country? Are they pushing Zambia to an agenda of becoming a more sustainable, sector? Are they pushing us to double up our revenue streams? That's the core. At the end of the day, the industry doesn't belong to anyone. It's for everyone. Be it people think they can stand in your way, make the hit song, make the good song, whether they like it or not. Your time, your moment is coming.
Yeah, let's talk about the ones that are established, the ones that are seemingly running things now. Danny's funeral also exposed a lot of disloyalties, cliques, groups as well in the industry. We could see that, oh, this person belongs to this, that person belongs to that. Great, it was well executed. I mean, the artist did an amazing farewell, but social media was sharing and showed us a side of the industry that seemed not united or ununited. What are your thoughts on that the industry is not united?
Well, poor digital culture. I'm sorry to say this. As Zambians, somehow we have a poor digital culture. Now, a poor digital culture is where you want to focus more on the negativity that comes with social media. You want to focus more on things that will make you relevant. So you want to comment and make the best comment out of the worst thing that's happening out there.
So is that,
you can't focus on the positive
artist or
things.
The people?
Amongst themselves, the artist.
Okay.
Music is a competitive sport.
Okay.
So when I say is it the art, when you're saying is it the artist or is it the general public, I'm talking of the general public having a poor digital culture. But amongst the artists, people out there must know that we live in a competitive sport space. So when artists are arguing a little bit, sometimes it's just basically for the industry's sake. Sometimes it's just for relevance sake. But then the ones that amplify that and make it an issue is the people out there, which is unfair. If only they could buy Zambian music the way they want to play around Zambian music negativity, things that they find negative, I think would be somewhere. Because again, the issue is this. When these artists are successful, they are the ones that come around the community with social corporate responsibility. They're able to help out the communities. They are role models. They convey or transform information of any kind to the public from whichever angles, whichever agencies. So there was a little bit of the negative talk. I think it was manageable. Within the sector, within the association, we were able to speak to all those people who had a few differences here and there, and it was well corrected. And we had a very successful send-off at the showgrounds, as well as a follow-up event at Scream, which of course, showed that we can do more together. I know that a few people may have felt left out and they felt like it was okay for them to stay away from whatever that was there. That's healthy. It's never going to be a space that accommodates all of us, but we should all try and coexist.
Away from the event, Dandy's passing, do you think artists genuinely support each other, or the industry has cliques and groups?
Well, cliques come from movements. The industry works in a special way. If I'm promoting a product, I'll have a team that promotes my product. That product is going to face a competition at some point. How and when I effect my move as a force with my team may always face other people. This is where people out there with, rather the latent people out there may not understand that that's not even like cliques or anything. It's just music itself being in its full course.
So you don't think Lusaka artists, they feel like they're better than artists from Eastern Province?
That's a long-gone issue. That's a long-gone issue. As a matter of fact, we have had a lot of collaborations. Right now, one of the most trending songs is between a southern artist, Sianene, and Chandana K. If you hear the way this song has been created, it's picking the sound from a different area and sound from a different area and blending it, creating a more competitive sound for us to have a ranking as Zambia. So artists can coexist. Artists can as well, maybe in any ways, collaborate. When they collaborate, they actually make better sound. They actually make impactful sound, infectious sound. So the issue of Kopala and Lusaka and Southern and Eastern, it was there when we were starting, because it was the only way we were able to say, but this time around, there's nothing like that. It's just about, Kwari Wombo is not sure Papandola zone. I need to work with him. And you ring the guy. Yeah. You send him your data. You may not even need to travel. We have technology now. And you're done with the song, and tomorrow Zambians are dancing. And it actually helps you double up numbers, because when you collaborate, there are two things. You are going to double up the visibility of your brand, as well as the numbers in terms of listenership or buying power.
Let's talk about the numbers, eh? People fighting to reach 1 million, people fighting who's going to get who, what's going to get where. Are these numbers making any difference in our artist bank account? And how is the association enabling to ensure that, yes, these numbers on TikTok, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Boomplay, on Spotify, the artists are not getting unfair deals, but they're getting their own share of that music?
Well, numbers, it's a numbers game now. Business is a numbers game, whichever, even Diamond TV wants numbers. Well, the unfortunate thing, and it's a sorry side, and this has been my cry and coming into power as president of Zambia Association of Musicians with my team, was to ensure that we monetize these numbers. We are in a digital space, and music is a business, and in business, every money spent on procurement must bring in more than what is rather spent, because it's an investment. So when people invest in their brands to look good and be able to sell their products, they want the numbers to transform into what pays them, so that they have a decent life and they're able to plow back to the community. Unfortunately, we are receiving a very slow pace push from even, sorry to say this, from even government. I feel like there is too much of a relaxed mind, not tapping into what can change the economy of this country. If people understood the power of art, they would know that if we invested in art as a country, we would not be where we are today. We had a drought just recently. We had COVID. During the COVID time, which is the time I came into office, if we had proper channels of selling or distributing our content, we would have already been making money, even from our homes, from the studio. You already, whatever you create, even when you are creating that content, all that footage is meant to be sold for people to purchase. Those numbers you have on your Facebook, on your Insta and everything, they should be able to pay for viewing or following your content. At the end of the day, you get that money. The country itself makes money, generates revenue. Remember, we are taxed as well. So people need to realize that this is a business. We need the government to be proactive in ensuring that we monetize our digital spaces. We talk of YouTube and all these other channels. For us to be monetized, we have to go and try and log in from outside the country. how do we cure our music from outside the country? That makes our country lose out on revenue generation. And
are you saying our artists are not making enough from the streaming?
No, we're not making enough because not everyone is monetized. The few that are monetized also we're losing out because they then have to register from outside the country, outside the region. And yet when we sat a couple of months ago, somewhere early last year, we had a very serious talk under SADC, talking of the trade itself as a business, as a sector. We were supposed to be monetized already by now because it's not about how many people we have in Zambia. We have about 20 to 25 million people in Zambia. Now, it's not about that even. Even if we have 10 million people, we're still supposed to be monetized because when we put our content, it's on a digital space. And people, wherever they are viewing from, wherever they are activating from, they are going to pay us money at the end of the day because then when that money comes, it does a lot to the economy of the country. You don't want artists to be beggars. We can't be coming to anyone to come and ask for anything. We are the powerhouse of the country. We can't only be tools that are used when it's time for elections. Our people cannot only be subjected to those who feel they can exploit them because they've got no choice. This content that we create, we spend a lot of money on it. Now we have got load shedding. Load shedding means we take too long to create. We're losing out on production. So at the end of the day, there's a very good finding. I'm grateful to Baseline finding. There's a report that is there which shows really that we are underfunded, or rather we are not even properly funded as a sector. There's less money injected in our sector. Investment is at its lowest grade in the sector. If I'm to be very specific, we are at almost 0.056% of investment into the sector. And yet when you look at the graph that shows you who contributes, who supplements government's efforts in terms of creating employment, we are at the center. So meaning we create enough employment for people because every time we have events, the marketeers are selling, the taxi drivers are moving, there's a lot of money being deposited in the banks. Everyone is going to look good. There's fashion that is moving there. Everyone is going to eat. The restaurants are also making money. There's a lot of traffic. That traffic is what turns around or spins money around in the community. So if at any point we were to look at the calls that we have made, we have, yes, spoken. We have engaged government. We have engaged stakeholders. We have even spoken to people that are outside the country to try and see how they are doing it. But the issue is the pace at which we are moving at as a country is not speedy enough. This is why we moved from the time that things became digital to now where we're moving to AI. And Zambia is always going to come at the third hour, which is not fair, because if that is how we're going to move, it means we're missing out. It's like you being informed as a footballer. You are informed this year, and you're not signed. And then they are just watching and say, Amukarium guys, and then your years are moving. So some of our artists may not even test the money they are supposed to have now, because at the time that they are happening, their music is not being...
It's not moving at the same pace. We need to wrap up, but I want to talk about two things. Exploiting our artists, event organizers, as well as the lack of proper music labels. Knowing industries, there's A-listers, there's B-listers, there's a certain standard to say, if you're a Makitu, you're in Makitu's league, you need to get paid 10,000 kwacha and above, for example, for a gig. But that's not what's happening. Artists are getting whatever they can to put food on the table. Are you helping to standardize that? And also, if an artist is worth 10,000, why isn't it that the corporate world or the event organizer, why aren't they paying them that 10,000? Also, the lack of recording companies, proper record deals, and the like. Your thoughts on that?
It still gets back to investment. If the government itself, that is the biggest stakeholder, does not pump in money into this sector, if we are reduced to beggars even through our associations, National Arts Council, be it the ministry, if we come as the last option, in terms of budgets, we were at Parliament, we were sitting in Parliament, and I'm happy I went with one of the level-headed minds in the industry. I was with Mark II and a few other people that I asked to come with me. We did presentations to Parliament to show them how much there's nothing that is pumped into our sector. We've showed them that. As much as we want to develop, if there's no proper deliberate policy that indicates that this art is of value, even the people out there will exploit artists. That's what it is. You are talking of regulation in terms of how much we should be getting, or our artists should be getting in terms of who gets paid what and what. We can't regulate. The value is different. The branding is different. It's a competitive sport. Depending on how I put and sell myself, I will get paid. Others may have good music, but the behavior and the discipline is off. This is why through our association, we're trying to say to the artist, can we all professionalize? Can we look at music as a business? We want everyone to move at the same pace, so that they understand that each time they get a call for business, it's a business call, and it's not about people know me and I can charge 10,000 because my friend was asking for 20. Let me drop it to 10,000. No, we should be all move at the same time so that people out there respect us. If we can't respect ourselves as artists, then the market itself may not give us the market value we deserve. In terms of cliques and movements, that's okay, it's welcome, because we know that through these structures, that's how we build. I understand that these structures may be just sort of cliques or whatever it is, but we want professionalized record labels. How do we get that? CDF, our people need to access that money. You're saying there's money for us, for art. Where is the CDF if our people can't access that money when we come to the offices? We had grants recently. I was attacked by my people saying, no, Mr. President, how come the grants we have only seen one person getting? That is what was available, which is unfair. If there's only money available for one artist out of, let's say, about 80 applications, it's a problem. What we're trying to ask is, we're not stepping on anyone that we're working with. We are saying, as parliamentarians sit out there, we let them fight for the people that fight for them to go to parliament. We need our people to be given the same budget allocations that they give to other sectors, because we have professionalized. If at all they were funding our ministry properly, our PS in his office there, PS Fumba Chama, who is hardworking, he would not be in an office where artists start shooting him and feel like he's not doing anything. I have sat with him several times. I see the challenges that our brother is facing. Even the association doesn't have allocations in terms of money.
I knew that this conversation would take longer than expected. I have a lot of questions as well, but thank you for joining us. It's great to hear your side of the story.